The House, written by Anindita Bose. South Kolkata. The monsoon had returned. Rainwater slithered through the garden path. Thunder muttered behind the banyan tree, and the old house sighed under its own silence. Rain tapping on the tiled roof, and the dull hum of ceiling fans, the smell of wet earth slipping in through the old wooden windows. The grandmother, whom Mimi called Dida, sat on the veranda, her cup of tea untouched. Mimi, 16, curled beside her, earbuds in, scrolling endlessly. Not really listening. Her body was here, but her mind was still elsewhere. In a city where no one wanted to talk about a man whom she always saw in a photograph. She would been sent here for the summer. No explanations, just, Mimi, you have to stay with Dida for a while. It will be good for you. Her mother didn't say anything else, just that Mimi's stepfather was traveling and it was best that they had some time together. Mimi wasn't a child anymore. She knew what she was not being said. She had grown up believing her father was dead, that he had died when she was a baby. But something in her mother's eyes had changed lately. A flicker, a hesitation. And Mimi began to wonder, was it because of her? Is it that her mother did not want her anymore? So here she was, in this ancient house with a grandmother she barely knew. A house that creaked at night and carried silence like furniture. Inside, the air was thick with damp memories. The soundless clock, the rusted swing, the locked upstairs room. That very room had always been locked. Mimi had often asked about it. No one goes there anymore, Dida had said simply. That was the thing about this house. It was quiet, but full of things that had never been said. The rain poured harder. The electricity flickered. They sat in candlelight now, surrounded by shadows and whispers. Dida's voice became softer, fuller in the dark, telling stories from long ago. How Mimi's mother once hid a cat in the almirah. How Dida sang on All India Radio. How her husband fought in Burma and returned with silence in his eyes. Mimi listened, her head resting on the cold iron arm of the chair. The stories were beautiful, but they did not touch the ache inside her. One day she asked, Dida, what is in the upstairs room? The smile vanished. Old things. Not for children. I'm not a child anymore. Dida said nothing, just stared out into the rain. The rain poured. That night, Mimi dreamt. She dreamt of the locked room. A piano. Shadows. A man's fingers gliding across the keys. The music, a woman laughing, a melody that seemed to come from inside her own chest. She woke up with a strange ache, grief. She didn't understand. What was this grief all about? The next morning, while Dida slept in her armchair, Mimi crept upstairs. She stood beside the door. The door was stiff, but opened with a hard shove. Dust stirred in the dim light, A cracked window let some sunlight in. There was an upright piano, dark wood and dull ivory keys, stack of sheet music curling at the edges. Was it a dream after all? Or was it a memory? There was a photograph on the wall. Mimi went closer. A man in his early 30s, maybe, sharp eyes, gentle smile, something in his face felt familiar, like a dream she used to have as a child. On the back of the photograph, written in blue ink, "Ma, forgive me for leaving music. Sometimes a marriage can ruin hearts, and then it is better to leave. I'm choosing my career and another chance to be happy with Ashmita. I know you and Dia will never forgive me, but I have no regrets. Only that I could not meet my daughter. I could not explain to her why I left." Arjun, 2008. Mimi's hands went cold. She whispered the name out loud. It echoed. A familiar name. A familiar photograph. That night after dinner, Mimi sat across from her grandmother. Candlelight flickered between them. Without wasting much time, Mimi showed the photograph and asked, "Who is he?" Dida didn't pretend. She took a deep breath and said, "My son, your father." Mimi froze. But you told me he died." "You told me he's dead," she whispered. Dida's eyes did not waver. "That's what your mother believed. That's what she needed to believe." "Why?" Mimi's voice cracked. "Because he left," Dida said, her hands wrapped tight around the cup. "He left the music. He left me. He left us. He chose a job in Mumbai and another woman. He said that he would come back, but he never came." Her voice broke, brittle like an old string snapping. And one day the letters stopped. The call stopped, like a note left hanging in the air. Mimi's throat tightened. Did my father die?" Dida spoke. "We did not inquire about that. He was married to another woman. There was no divorce." Mimi was shocked, but she asked, "Ma is marrying again. I am going to have a stepfather." Dida looked at her and said, Of course. It has been 17 years now, Mimi. Your mother should have done that long back." Mimi wondered, But Baba, is he not a good man?" Dida sighs deeply, takes a deep breath. He was a good human. But he should not have abandoned his old mother, wife, and a just-born daughter. Dida looked sharply at Mimi and said, "He was a selfish man." "Was? He's alive, right, Dida?" Dida looked away and said, "Ashmita called and said it was a heart failure. Mumbai was too far. We wondered what happened to him." Mimi's heart ached. Dida looked outside the window. But he was gone long before that. Suddenly, there were 3 sharp knocks at the front gate. Mimi flinched. Dida's posture straightened. She set the teacup down slowly. Another knock. Then a voice came. "Excuse me, ma'am? Is someone there? Sorry to disturb. My car's broken down. Could I use your phone, please? They looked at each other. It was quite dark outside. They approached the slated window together. A man stood outside the gate. Late 40s perhaps, tall, soaked. But it was not clear. The rain dripped from his jacket. The man was still, too still. His eyes scanned the garden, the balcony, the dark windows. Something about his stillness made Mimi's skin crawl. Not loud, not dangerous, but something was wrong. Like something had slipped out of place. "Don't open it," Mimi said. Dida looked at her and nodded. The man's voice came, calm. "I am not a thief. I am not a thief." Dida stared through the grill, then moved quietly to the veranda. She didn't open the main gate. She just passed the cordless phone through the bars. The man took it slowly, both hands polite. He dialed. He spoke softly. Then he looked up at the window, saw Mimi, their eyes locked. His expression did not change, but something in his gaze made her heart thud. He looked at her too long, not like a stranger, like someone remembering. He handed back the phone and said, "You have a beautiful home." Dida's voice was firm. "Take care." He nodded once, then turned. Then he walked into the rain without a word. The gate creaked closed behind him. 2 days later, Mimi found an envelope in the letterbox. A single sheet of paper, fresh ink, neatly folded. "Ma, I was here. I saw you and her. I couldn't knock and say, 'I'm your son.' Sometimes the road back is longer than we think, and shame is heavier than silence. But I needed to see the house, the garden, the music, and my daughter. She looks just like her mother. Thank you, Ma, for keeping this place alive. I have just one request. Will you explain to her why I left?" Or June 2025. Mimi's heart raced. She couldn't believe what she had read. She ran to Dida. The old woman read it once, closed her eyes. Mimi whispered, "Dida, that man, that night." Dida's hands trembled, but she smiled, faint, worn, and full of something softer. Mimi whispered, "He's not dead. My father." Dida whispered back, "No, he's just lost." The next morning, Mimi sat in the music room. Her fingers hovered uncertainly over the piano keys. She pressed one, then another. A broken melody emerged. Dida appeared in the doorway. She looked for a long time and then said, "Let me show you." She sat beside her granddaughter. Their fingers moved, clumsy at first, hesitant. Then together, the room stayed open, the music returned, and somehow that letter, that fleeting moment in the rain, was enough. Because some people don't come back, but sometimes they leave just enough behind to say, "I was here. I am alive."